I want to thank, first of all, the Beinecke for hosting me and to Mike for the invitation to speak as part of this Monday at Beinecke series. And thanks to all of you for beaming in. It's especially exciting for me to be here this afternoon during a time when travel to archives for research has been put to a screeching halt. And in this particular instance, the Beinecke takes me back to the good old days, the before times, BC, before Corona, during my years as a grad student at Yale, who was discovering the fabulous and unique collections held in the library. One collection that I've thought about really pretty regularly since discovering it around 2008 or 9 is the shopping bag collection, which is housed in the Yale Collection of American Literature, a collection that, according to the Beinecke, collects American literature in all of its formats and in all media, documenting the ways great American writers reach diverse and unusual audiences beyond standard book publishing. So what I want to do with you today is talk through the significance of these shopping bags. And in particular, I want to briefly lay out sort of the visual culture of fashion that these shopping bags participate in and circulate in more broadly so that we might contextualize these shopping bags and how they reflect questions of fashion as well as class status, travel, mobility, the everyday, and as well as graphic design. In 2007, as part of the Devane Lectures on World Performance given by Professor Joseph Roach here at Yale, I shared some of my first work on cultures of fashion, or what I was then calling the performance of luxury. I was a second year graduate student here when Professor Roach asked me to do a brief presentation within the context of his public lectures on performance. I think that presentation was, I think, the first time that I used the phrase performance of luxury, and it was also my first performance lecture. And in that lecture, that brief presentation, I took the stage in the auditorium at the Yale Center for British Art, where the lectures were held, and I placed a Christian Dior shopping bag in the middle of the floor. The bag is big and gray with the word Dior embossed on the side in silver. Now, at the time, I was researching the history of luxury and doing a performance ethnography of the Fifth Avenue Christian Dior men's boutique in New York during the heyday of the designer Eddie Sliman, a designer I was really obsessed with. During the lecture, I drew on the social economist Thorstein Veblen, another Yaley, and his ideas of conspicuous consumption in order to position luxury as a performance. I pulled a shirt out of the bag and changed my top right on stage. The shirt wasn't Dior, it was probably H&M or stuff like that. But the point I was trying to make was what carrying luxury shopping bags communicates about the person carrying them, no matter what's inside. Shopping bags are an important and relatively overlooked aspect of everyday material culture, as well as they are part of the iconography of fashion. For example, how many of you hoard those big blue IKEA bags? Got one right here. Or others from your local grocery store under the sink or in a closet somewhere near your home. At a very basic level, we need bags to carry our stuff around. They help move, carry, and conceal small, newly purchased commodities. I say small because when you buy a house, you don't get a bag for that. Or when you buy a new car, you don't get a bag for that either. At a deeper level, shopping bags are something like time capsules because they capture graphic design trends of a given moment, as well as they are tied to memories and the social world of appearances. When I use the phrase the performance of luxury, I'm speaking about the ways luxury shopping entails certain negotiations of social appearance, and I want to think about that with you as we look at these images, as we go through these bags. But first, I want to just signpost an important thinker who I think shapes really any thinking about shopping bags, and that's Thorstein Veblen, who in a book published in 1899 called The Theory of the Leisure Class, writes a takedown of the predatory, wasteful nature of capitalism and the leisure classes it produces. Veblen was interested in how conspicuous consumption of goods was meant to assert one's financial prowess over other subordinate groups. His ability to see beyond the dazzling surface of things led to theorizations of the leisure class and a term which I think maybe we all know, which is conspicuous consumption, which is essentially how wealthy, how you buy things as a way to sort of show off or demonstrate and prove your ability, your power and ability to pay for things. And the point of that is that it's got to be more than what you need. It's got to be over the top. So you get things like fabulous mansions or feasts where not all the food can be eaten and all these other kind of conspicuous things. Um, and so I want to just walk through a couple of these or a number of these bags actually to kind of think about cultures of conspicuous consumption. So here's one. This is for Bloomingdale's. This is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. George Seurat, Sunday Afternoon on La Grande Jatte from 1884. And in this, we see where an iconic painting, which was the basis of also of a musical, becomes an item from the gift shop that is toted or sort of placed on the side of the bag as a way to sort of carry the artwork around the city. So the work of art lives beyond the museum walls, but in fact makes it into the realm of commerce on the actual bag itself from the gift shop. Also in the art world, we have this bag from the Portland Museum of Art. And what I like about sort of in this section is, you're getting a sense of the collector of these bags, whoever it was. You're getting a sense of the kind of worlds that they circulated in. So these are bags that they collected, perhaps because they were drawn to them, maybe they were hoarding them, maybe they were drawn to the sort of graphic design, but you're getting a sense of the kind of social worlds that they participated in. So we know that they were going to the Met. We know that they were going to the Portland Museum of Art. And so here you have this bag that gives you a sense of somewhat dated design from the Portland Museum of Art. Then you have the question of travel. And so here is a bag from British Airways, which gives you a sense, again, that this is someone who was traveling quite extensively. Here's a bag from Delta Airlines, special handling. You wonder maybe what was in this bag that needed sort of special handling. Um, so from the world of kind of the art world of sort of the Met and the Portland Museum and travel and air travel, we have other kinds of travel, like going to Disney World and having a bag there, which again, these souvenir items, these bags become a place to put souvenir items, and the bag itself becomes another kind of souvenir item, right? And you have that in places, especially like Disney World, but also New York. And here is a riff on the 1977 I Love New York design by Milton Glaser. And we've all seen this logo all around. It's one of the more famous works of graphic design. But again, you're getting a sense of the kinds of worlds that this person circulated in, their travel histories, and you kind of wonder what could have been in these spaces. And then you have bags that are in the collection that are more sort of centered on like typography and text. So I think this one from Crate and Barrel is pretty interesting. Just the way that the Crate and Barrel design is quite modern. And here's the Bloomingdale series. And there are a lot of bags in this collection from Bloomingdale's. I think maybe upwards of 27 or 30. And here you're looking at a series of bags that depicts France, Italy, and the United States, right? So we've got France on the side with the kind of dress form underneath. We have Italy in the middle, in Pizza We Trust, and then we have the American flag, we have the Statue of Liberty on the far right. Other bags from the Bloomingdale's collection, I just think these are really stunning to look at, just in terms of the colors and the artistry, and in some of the instances, it'll indicate who the graphic design artist is at the bottom of the bag, and you can look them up to see more of their work and see what other work they do for other commercial enterprises, which again shows the cross-section between illustration, design, and commerce. Andy Warhol also himself was very involved in graphic design prior to his sort of pop art career. So there's already a connection there between graphic design and sort of the world of commerce. Another one from Bloomingdale's. This is the part of the Disney World series. So again, colorful, um, something that is definitely a souvenir. The bag itself as a souvenir. These ones are interesting. This series from Saks Fifth Avenue because we're in holiday season, and this series of three bags that I'll show you just now indicates when Christmas is. So here it was on Monday, December 25th in 1978. In 1980, it was on Thursday the 25th, uh, and in 87, it was on Friday the 25th. So here's an image of Veblen, who was influential in my thinking about sort of performances of luxury that I mentioned earlier, and who helps us think about conspicuous consumption and as a way of sort of performing class status and access to capital. But there are two works of art that I think are really interesting just because of the way that they really, I think, spotlight the questions around shopping bags, around shopping culture, around the fact that shopping bags are usually, used in more urban areas, or not used, but like you would sort of designer handbags are used in that space more frequently. So, for example, in this work, Sloan, Sunday Afternoon in Union Square from 1912. I love this work because John Sloan was part of the Ashcan school of painters, which who were usually painting scenes in about urban life in New York City, and he was interested in exchanges in the gaze. So as you can see in this image, there are many different ways that people are looking. You've got the two women on the bench who are cackling. You've got the men who are all turned around looking at these two fabulous women at the center. And I love these women because you can tell that this is sort of the height of fashion. The one woman in the white in the center is dangling her little purse out to the side, letting you, and to me, this signifies that this purse is a commodity item, it's a hot item, it's like sort of the moment, sort of fashion. And the woman with the parasol in purple, meaning, she's the only one in purple carrying this, pink parasol, she thought she was sickening, right? And so for me, this is an example of an image where you see how fashion is performed or style is performed in the urban environment, and how an exchange of glances helps to sort of give the wearer or a sense of legibility and kind of performing again that sense of luxury. And another example is a work, an earlier one from 1909. This is a work from John Sloan, Fifth Avenue, which is of course the belly of the beast when it comes to these boutiques and high-end department stores. And we just have two well-dressed women, two well-heeled women, again dangling the sort of designer handbag out so that it's for all to see. So these two images for me capture luxury as performance. By revealing luxury as performance, I'm trying to think about a pattern of behaviors that rely on visual cues of designer logos, labels, fashions, and accessories. All of these are really props that become a veneer of heightened status, even if the status at that time is false, and even if the props themselves are not real, or the bags or the items are not real. This performance of luxury is all about the pleasure in participating in the circulation, though importantly, not always ownership of sort of exclusive luxury goods. So when we look at the collection of shopping bags, we go from, we've seen ones from MoMA, from the Met, from Portland Museum, from Disney World, from New York, from Bloomingdale's. Now we have Gucci. So this is someone who, the collector of these items, was a patron of Gucci. And again, we're looking here at two kind of images of the Gucci logo. I mean, the Gucci font is pretty much hasn't changed, and I think most people recognize the kind of tri-band Gucci color, tri-band green, Gucci red and green. And then we also have a bag in the collection from Bergdorf's. Again, one of the pinnacles of luxury shopping in New York in a certain kind of moment where it's all about wealth and status and buying access to a certain kind of glamour. Designer labels are typically sought after because of the conspicuous way they announce themselves. Everyone knows what the Gucci colors are or what the letters LV mean. To this end, the Swiss pop artist Sylvie Fleury has designed sculptural renditions of designer handbags as well as luxury shopping bags, a commentary specifically addressing the residue of performances of luxury, the high-end shopping bag itself. Um, So here's a work from Sylvie Fleury from 1991, Vital Perfection, where it's just an assortment and it's an installed assortment of a collection of shopping bags. And I think in this one, you can see that unless you really know what the bags are, or like this one in the front says what it is, but most of them are pretty obscured. So it's about, the sort of affect of shopping or the iconography of shopping. But then in later work from 2007, she amps up the ante in this piece, Insolence, from 2007, where you can clearly see this is Gucci again in the front. We see Gucci arrives again. This is the Lanvin in the back, Miu Miu here, Colette's here, and a little bag here from Colette, which again, these are sort of the height of kind of pop culture in the vein of Colette, which was a space of popular culture and fashion, and Gucci, Lanvin, Hermes in the back, again, which are the more high-end spaces. And then she raises this even further in a work, a sculptural work, a bronze, painted bronze from 2008, Chanel shopping bag, which is literally just a sculpture of a shopping bag from the Chanel boutique in Paris. Um, Many people hold on to designer handbags, so the actual, like designer it bag, but even the actual shopping bag itself, many of us hold on to the actual bag itself, even beyond the initial luxury purchase. So in the Yale collection of shopping bags, for example, which was brought to the Beinecke by Louise Bernard in 2005, it's an archive of 212 of these bags from a range of boutiques and high-end department stores from around the world. So we've seen Bergdorf's, there's Saks Fifth Avenue, there's Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's, among others. They're notable for their conspicuous and distinct designs, and these bags are also, again, evidence of the kind of social world their collector inhabited. To thicken the plot even further, right now, so in this world of kind of shopping bags, going from, the kind of sort of collector edition of, Bergdorf and kind of Gucci, to how this becomes a sculptural installation in the work of Sylvie Fleury. We now, right now, to thicken the plot further, you can buy a designer handbag that looks like a shopping bag for the low, low price of $1,400. So this is a staple sort of it bag from the house of Balenciaga. So again, this is a shopping bag that is a purse, right? It's a purse styled as a shopping bag, and it's made of sort of leather or calf skin. And I want you to notice that they felt it important in the description to indicate that the bottom folds like a paper bag. And so, Balenciaga is a house known for its kind of trickster, or now it's known for its kind of trickster kind of space. And so this is a way of, getting at that in this bag as well. So as a way of wrapping up, I want to remind you that shopping bags are part of everyday material culture. They are time capsules of graphic design, and in addition, they also leave residual traces that indicate the kind of social world that the collectors engage with. So in this, I want you to think about the bags that you inevitably have around the house, that you use to cart things places or that you use to do whatever you use with them. Think about why you keep those bags and what those ephemeral traces kind of do for you. Um, um, where high-end boutiques and department stores are concerned, there are also important artifacts that indicate a certain kind of class status, mobility, and access. The spaces of luxury fashion and department stores are highly racialized, as a final note. I'm thinking, for example, about the 2005 episode where Oprah was not allowed to enter the Hermes boutique in Paris just 15 minutes after store closing time, despite the fact that there were other shoppers inside. Or take another 2013 incident where a sales representative at an exclusive shop in Switzerland refused to show Oprah the $38,000 Tom Ford crocodile bag she asked to see. The representative telling Oprah, "It's too expensive for you." Or again, think about Treyon Christian, a black queer college student from Queens who was detained in the store after purchasing a $350 Ferragamo belt at Barney's. Undercover officers stopped Christian before he left the store and asked, "How can a young black man such as himself afford to purchase such an expensive belt?" We live in a social world where social appearances matter. Appearances govern all social interactions, and because of this, they're virtually inescapable. And one artist who I think is, that I'll leave you with, who I think is really interesting in terms of thinking about cultures of fashion and luxury, and in particular sort of race, is the artist, performance artist Rashad Newsom, who has a series of performance works called, a long running series of performance works called Shade Compositions, which is a performance where he um, sort of a chorus of performers make sounds that are stereotypically associated with Black and Latinx folks. But the important part in this work is that everybody wears designer clothes. In this, I think this is Alexander Wang. And they're all, I couldn't find an image that showed everything sort of quite in detail, but they're all wearing Alexander Wang, and many of them are carrying an Alexander Wang bag of the moment, with the one with the kind of studs at the bottom. Um, and so that's what I wanted to share with you today with regards to sort of thinking about cultures of shopping, thinking about the connection between travel, museum spaces, how museums might take famous works of art and spread them through the gift by the gift shop on their sort of shopping bags, how shopping bags indicate certain kinds of travel and access to spaces, to vacations, and how they connect to questions of graphic design, such as the Milton Glaser, um, iconic New York, I Love New York branding, to the simplest kind of minimalist design around graphic design around Crate and Barrel, to the very colorful Bloomingdale's bags, which are all really, really exciting and rich to look at because they're also innovative and colorful and rich. So yeah, I will stop sharing my screen here, and happy to have to answer any questions.